Hey, how's it going? How are you guys feeling? Markets are, I think, coming back a little bit. I don't anticipate that we're not through this yet. The reason that I wanted to jump on today is I've had a lot of people reaching out and you're scared. You're worried. We're all feeling a little bit of anxiety over the uncertainty of what's going to happen over the next few weeks. Here in Ohio, our schools got canceled for the next 3 weeks starting Tuesday. So there's a lot of people in my community, and I know other states have canceled. So there's a lot of you who are thinking, well, what am I going to do? Do I go to work? Do I need to stay home with my kid? Do I need to pay for childcare? What if I can't go to work? Do I get paid? There's a lot of people in the service industry that if they don't work, they don't get paid. And so these are real issues for real people. This is what's going through the minds of our loved ones right now. This is where and to put on top of all that, it's not just a financial crisis. There's a new virus and there's a lot of information that's scary and a lot of misinformation that's terrifying. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. So before we dig into this cash flow system, let's dig into that uncertainty for a minute. I just want to be, I don't know, not even the voice of reason. I want to let you know, and you'll agree with this if you really sit and think about it, uncertainty is the norm. We kind of trick ourselves, especially because those of us here in the States or in other affluent societies, we live in a very predictable society for the most part. So we've had a long period where we kind of knew what to expect. And so we weren't paying attention to the fact that uncertainty is always there. We never know what's going to happen. We feel like we do, and that's a nice illusion and it's very comforting, but uncertainty is actually the norm. We're all just very hyper aware of it right now, with good reason, right? With good reason. So uncertainty is always there. That hasn't changed. You've just become very, very aware of it. One of the best things to get rid of that anxiety around uncertainty is to kind of find certainty in certain areas. So we're going to dig into the cash flow system just so that you can get a little bit of clarity and certainty around your money and what's going to happen over the next 3 weeks. Before we dig in, though, I want to talk about catastrophizing. Catastrophizing, is that right? Yeah, catastrophizing. So this is where, this is a very normal thing to do. You're a human, so if your mind is taking you to those dark places of how bad can this get, you're human. That's what this brain does. It fills in stories. Our minds like stories. We operate using story. It's a very human thing. In the absence of a good story, our brains will make one up. So if you feel like you're heading down that path of like, it's all going to end, everything's bad, it's going to be horrible, I want to invite you to follow that rabbit trail. I really do. I want you, and especially if you can do it on paper, because that's going to actually get a different part of your brain to work. I want you to come up with what is actually the worst thing that's going to happen. What is the worst thing that could happen? And I want you to follow that rabbit trail all the way to the end. My rabbit trails always end up with homeless and alone. Just completely on my own with nobody left to help. So when we get to the end of that rabbit trail, a lot of times we realize, yeah, but I'm not going to end up homeless and alone. That's just not likely. I have a really nice family. I have a husband who loves me. I have kids. We have 6 parents who are all very supportive. We've got friends and family. Like sometimes when you head down that rabbit trail, instead of just letting your brain go there and sit there, dig into it and you'll find that the worst thing that is rolling around in your head is not that likely. And then we can kind of move beyond it. Awareness is what helps. I don't want you to hide. I don't want you to ignore the fact that, yeah, maybe your income will stop in 3 weeks. I want you to know what that's going to look like, because that's better than whatever the story is that you're going to tell yourself. Okay, couple more things. When it comes to childcare, a lot of people are trying to figure that out right now. So that's what I want to talk about really quickly. We've all heard the saying, it takes a village. It does. We're finding that out right now. It's going to take a village. And you're part of that village. I've always wondered, where is this village? No one ever gave me directions to it. I can't find it. Oh, I've been in it the entire time. You're the village. So you need to ask for help and you need to offer help. And that could be getting really creative. So if you're looking at childcare, maybe you're trading days with another parent, so you're not missing every day of work. I know there's a lot of local high schoolers and college students who aren't going to be attending class, and they are going to be looking for things to do. There's a lot of college students who are going to use this as an opportunity, a learning opportunity for early childhood education. So look around your community and see where those things are happening, because maybe that will help you. But you're going to have to ask for help. And so am I. We're all going to have to ask for help, and we're all going to have to offer help to each other, because we're the village that gets us through this. And I want you to call your representatives. I don't usually get political. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I need you to call. I need your representatives to know how this is going to impact you. And we need emergency legislation, and that could look like paid sick leave. That could be postponing tax bills that are coming up next month. It could be postponing mortgage payments. I'm not sure. That's why I'm not in office. I'm not a policymaker, but there are people who are, and they need to hear from you. So if you're concerned that you're not going to be able to get to work because you don't have sick, and you're not going to be able to pay your bills because you don't have sick leave, I need you to make a phone call. Do you hear me? I need you to make a phone call. I need you to call and say, this is how it's going to impact me. I don't want you to tweet it. I don't want you to share another meme. I want you to call your representative and tell them what you need. Okay? Cool. I want to show you this cash flow system. This is what I've been using in both my personal life and my business life for years. And the reason that I started using it was, and maybe your accounts are like this. Money comes in, and then like all the bills come out kind of all at the same time. At least that's how it is in my world. And so when those bills start coming out, you see that account balance dip, 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 dip. And what always got me was that I didn't know how low it was going to go, and I didn't know when the next bill was coming out. And so I was always anxious that we were going to overdraw and get fees, that something was going to happen. And this system took that away. I can see that in 3 weeks, this is the balance I'm going to have in my account. So the system I'm going to show you, let me go ahead and pull it up. Looks like this. It's a Google spreadsheet. It's got the formulas built right in. If you want this system that I built, I do sell it on my website at brittanyross.com cashflow. If you're like, Brittany, I don't need that, you can do all this with pen and paper. You don't need to buy anything. So if you're the type of person that you're like, I want to dig in right now and I want your system, there's where it's at. Right there, brittanyross.com/cashflow. But again, you don't need a fancy system. You can build this in Google Sheets yourself, or you can just do it on pen and paper. But the point of the system, let me go in here. The point of the system is that you're going to plug in when your income comes in. You can see that there are dates across the top. For this system, we're back in January for the example. But you would plug in how much money is coming in each month. And if you know that you're going to get extra money, if there's interest payments, your tax refund, Maybe you need to transfer from savings. You can plug all that in up here in the income section. And then down here under each week, that's where you're going to put all your expenses. So I know that this week there was a mortgage payment coming out, a car payment of $267, your student loan payment might be coming out, and that's all going to come down here to the bottom to where you see your balance. Now, what I do is I know ahead of time. So as soon as I know what a bill amount is, so say you get your electric bill a few weeks ahead, and they're like, well, your electric bill is going to be, I don't know, $150, and it's going to come out on January 24th. So I come up here to the week that begins on January 22nd. I come down to my electric bill and I type in 150. And I can do that with all of these different expenses that you know are going to come out. It's going to take you a minute to set it up, but you can go ahead and plug everything in. So then you can see down here what your balance is going to be. So I know that the week of the 22nd, that I'll have a balance around that. There's going to be some things that are miscellaneous and some things that are variable. Food bills, entertainment, things like that can be variable. Clothing, buying pet food. But there are some things that are fixed, and we have averages. We know that on average, we spend a certain amount on groceries. So you can actually come in here and just plug that in. You know that on average, maybe you spend $80, and so you just put $80. That's just the average, and you can put it all the way out to the end of the year, because you can see you can scroll out. You've got the entire year in one place. This is really accurate for like the next 3 weeks, and then as it goes out, it gets less and less accurate because those variable expenses. What I really like, and this may show you, let's say that you're not going to have income coming in here and here. And maybe you're planning on being back to work in a month or two. You're not quite sure, but you know that your income's going to really drop. So you can come down here and now see how does that impact my account balances? When am I going to feel that impact? What bills are going to come out during that week? If I don't get paid, what do I need to anticipate? Because remember, a lot of anxiety comes from that lack of awareness. Uncertainty kills us. We can stop dead in our tracks, and we won't do anything when we're uncertain. When we know what's coming, we start trying to figure it out. When we're uncertain, we don't know what to figure out. So this is just bringing that awareness. This isn't telling you that it's all going to be okay magically. This is to bring your attention to, hey, if my income dries up in 3 weeks, what will that look like? How, and then you can start to figure out, what do I do? How do I prioritize? If you see that there's going to be a hiccup in your income is going to affect you almost immediately, then maybe now is the time to think about, how do I fix that? How do I, maybe I don't spend the extra money on the clothes right now. Maybe the kids don't need those spring clothes just yet. Maybe I wait 2 weeks, okay? It takes away some of that uncertainty. You might be certain that you're not going to be able to make a payment in 3 weeks, but it won't blindside you. It's not going to punch you in the face. And that's what we're trying to do here, is make it so that you can make decisions and move forward while the rest of the world feels like chaos. Does that make sense? That's what it's done for me. Now, if you don't know what your expenses are, let's say that you're like, Brittany, I don't know what bills I have. Like, I know I have an electric bill, and I know I have a water bill, and I have car payment, and I like kind of have an idea how much things are, but I don't know when the due dates are until the bill comes. Let me show you something else. Let's see here. Bear with me. Share my screen. I want to show you how to keep track of your payments. And this, again, is something that you don't need to get this from me. You can just make a list, okay? You don't need to buy anything special here. I keep it all on a Google sheet. because that's how I operate. Maybe you just want to have it handwritten somewhere. But honestly, these Google Sheets are pretty easy to use. The key here is you need to know you're going to have a column for your accounts, a column for your due dates, a column for the amount due, and that's going to change. You're going to update this as things come in. I like to know if it's an auto pay. You can see that I do a ton of auto pays. That's why these are all defaulted to yes, is because these are all the things that I have set up. Well, I don't have a student loan or a car payment, but these are I set up auto pay. Anyway, you would say no. If it's not an auto pay, then you need to know to go in and pay it. Don't forget annual expenses, guys. Those apps that come out once a year, like cloud storage, insurance, like we pay for Disney Plus, and it comes out annually. Trash for us is annual. So don't forget annual payments. So make a column, make a section for annual payments, make a section for monthly expenses. And that way you'll know there's one place for all your payments. You'll know how much they are. You can even total them up. You can say, oh, I have $2,300 in fixed expenses. I know these come out every single month, 100% of the time. And this is how much they are. So your credit card payments might change or will change. But for the most part, these are fixed expenses and they're going to come out every month. There is no excuse at this point. You're an adult. I'm going to talk to you like one. There is no excuse for not knowing when your expenses come out of your account. None. If you know how to write or you know how to type, there's no excuse. The only excuse is, I haven't done it yet. So do it. Let's get it done. So this is what I use for my business and our personal life. I want to know when everything's coming out. So that's what this is for. I don't have this available for sale anywhere. It is in my my private Facebook group. They all have access to it. They have access to all of these things, but it is closed right now. So you don't need a fancy template. Just pop it onto a spreadsheet or pop it on a piece of paper and just erase or scratch it out, whatever you need to do. But there is no excuse for not knowing what your expenses are and when they're coming out of your account. None. None. So stop. Get rid of that uncertainty. Don't live in that uncertainty. Uncertainty is the norm, but we don't need to be uncertain about the things we have. We have access to this information, okay? So get your expenses listed out and then do a cash flow system. Sorry, I cannot talk and click at the same time. Let me pull that cash flow example back up for you. And again, if this is something, if you're like, Brittany, I don't know how to make a spreadsheet. I don't know how to put this on pen and paper. I just want to give you some money and download it. If that's you, right there, you can just download it and start filling it out. And if you're like, Brittany, I am a spreadsheet diva. Great. All you need are some formulas. Basically, what you're doing is you're starting with a cash balance. You're adding up this column. You're adding up that column, and you're subtracting them. And you're just keeping that balance rolling. And if you need to do it on pen and paper, just draw it all out or get a calendar. I've seen people do it on where they just download a blank calendar and then they go in and they fill in that this is when this comes out. Here was my starting balance. Here are the payments coming out when they come out. And here's the ending balance. Done. But that lack of awareness is going to keep you stuck, and it's going to keep that the story, the catastrophe, it's going to keep it ruminating in your head. So let's get all of this stuff out of your head onto paper where you can see it in the light of day. And then you can make decisions based on what you see. Okay? All right. Stay healthy out there, guys. Stay safe. Stay as joyful as you can. We're going to get through this. I'm going to pop in a bunch next week. Tell me what's going on. Tell me how you're feeling. What's going on in your town? What is going on in your house? Are you feeling the urge to pull all your retirement out? Are you feeling scared that you're going to lose your job? Like, I'd really love to hear from you. If this helped, please let me know, because I've given it to a few different people and they've loved it, and I would love to know that it worked for you too. Call your representatives, please. Please call them and tell them what you need. They need to hear from their constituents. They need to hear real stories. Don't just share memes. It doesn't help. And don't be afraid to ask for help. And don't be afraid to offer help. We got to get through this together. So I'm going to go eat some lunch, drink a coffee, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye, guys.